What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about Nio. I want to give you an overview of what is really prompting this sell-off, go over some of the data points and everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that said, let's get right to it. So right now, Nio is down 7.62%. A new 52-week low was created at $4.09. 54.02 million shares have been traded. 54.3 is the average. Unfortunately, despite a new 52-week low being hit, big money isn't really buying the dip. As you can kind of see right here, so only 2 transactions above $100,000 have been done on the secondary market. So a lot of the volume being done today is just shorts, swing traders, and algorithmic trading. So not necessarily the best. As of late, there hasn't been any recent news today. So last one, I believe, was this on the 9th. So again, it kind of sucks in that regard. But a lot of larger factors are really influencing and have been influencing Nio. So today specifically, there is this. So a senator based out of Ohio is ultimately trying to call for the ban of Chinese EVs being imported to the States. Crazy if you think about it. So logically, this is the only reason why it's going down. In my opinion, I feel like this is one of many things that's just being overblown with Nio. And so really, I don't see this being justified for a 7.5% down day. But even if you think about it over this last little bit, like the 1 month alone, it's down 33.49%. Over this last 6 months, down 54.07. So I think just a lot of people overreact with Nio, and that usually happens because of the lack of institutional buyers getting in. Because normally in a lot of cases, like those institutional investors stabilize the stock, add a lot of, support points. Whereas with Nio, without those institutional buyers, like this is why you get a lot of volatility. So ultimately, it does suck in the grand scheme of things. But as I said in my last video on why I did buy into Nio and whatever else, like I fully acknowledge that that might have not been the bottom. That potentially could continue to trend down, but my investment was more so for the long term. So you just, again, have to weather the storm essentially. Right now, though, to make things very interesting and kind of unique, shorts are returning 5.13 million shares. So this is why I like to analyze this information, because by shorts returning this amount of shares, it does 100% validate that today is a overreaction. Again, you can take that with what you will and do whatever you want, but utilization is 74.15%. Short score, so the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening, is 75.41. Cost to borrow average is 2.38%, and there is a grand total of 191.03 million shares overall are being shorted, which works out to be 13.97%. So in reality, this is a very interesting circumstance. And so yeah, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. There hasn't been any recent analyst ratings. So last one was done about 9 days ago. So I did talk about this in my last video. And so yeah, that was a sell rating, downgrade, Barclays, and a 43% success rating by the analyst. So again, no real updates for that. Moving on to options. So options, $2.06 million in calls being purchased versus 4.43 in puts. So a lot of money is getting into Nio today through options. Sentiment wise though, 60% of all the options being done today are bearish, and of the call options that are being purchased, there's a consensus for it to be above roughly about 450 by the end of next week, so more of a recovery. And then today, looking at the puts, there's a consensus for it to be sub $4 by the end of next week, so more of a continuation of the downtrend. Right here, looking at this, so with it at $4.14, it is trading between this S2 and this S1. So $4.38 is that next strong resistance, so the target for Nio. Kind of bounced off of that general area as far as the high today, but the next support point is $3.94. So it didn't really come close to that. So I see that as somewhat as a positive, but going into next week, just take a mental note of some of the support and resistance points. Like I've previously stated, I think it was 2 videos ago, the Elliott Wave technicals are actually projecting for Nio to get below roughly about between the 350 to the 390 range, if I remember correctly. So just kind of go back to that video. I think it was 2 videos ago or something like that. So let me know your thoughts on that. Looking on the actual chart, it is lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. As of today, you start to see a bearish deviation, so red line above the white. But then again, like I said, it is at 18, so that is considered very oversold. So if there's a good piece of news that does come out with Nio or associated to Nio, then you could see a rush of institutions and value investors, as what we've seen in the past. But number of retail investors are getting out today. So very unfortunate scenario that Nio is in, but like I said, the data points do kind of signal that today is a overreaction. I myself am not really buying Nio. I've done my position in both Interactive Brokers, a $6.50 price target, and then recently with Wealthsimple at that $4.36. So I feel like I have sufficient amount of shares. If it does get to the $3 range, then this is where I'll start to do a little bit more heavy options, either selling puts or selling covered calls and whatever, just to kind of get that going. But still, I don't know. Right now, just Nio is a very, very interesting and volatile stock, and EVs as a whole I think are just as well struggling. So let me know your thoughts. Give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying today? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with Nio? And one final thing I just wanted to share with you, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 7 fractional shares of the Mag 7. So that is a $35 total value. So pretty good return on investment for just throwing $100 at a new account. So take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.